going on, world? This is Big Willie, Ovaseaz Records. We're about to start this new podcast series on Ovaseaz TV, talk about our come up, talk about some of these stories we've been going through in the rap game, talk about our legends that we've worked with like Rappin, Big Prodigy from South Central Cartel, EQUIPTO, Mike Marshall, C Murder, and so on and so on. Now if you got time to listen to this, cool, we appreciate it. If you ain't got time, you don't give a fuck, shit, I don't give a fuck. So we're just gonna keep some real game, tell some cool ass stories, and I hope you guys appreciate it. So let's get this rolling. Chill. So basically how we all started, we're going back about 10, 11 years ago. My big brother, Big Ben, the chef, you know, when MySpace was the shit, he ended up hooking up with Rappin and was like, yo, Forte, man, we want to get you on a track. Forte was like, yeah, I'm down with that. So we ended up shooting him the instrumental, the track. A couple of days later, he sent that back. We ended up getting a cool ass track from Forte. We was hella happy. You know, the shit was tight. So we were happy with that. So my brother, you know, with the weeks to come, was chopping it up with Forte, and they both came to a conclusion, was like, all right, let's work on an album together. You know, Ovaseaz Records to do a full album with Rappin Forte. So, you know, we ended up, you know, putting our heads together and said, okay, well, what's the best deal? Now, mind you, I'm sure everyone who watches this know who Rappin Forte is. Rappin Forte is a legend from San Francisco. That's right, I got my SF hat on. He's worked with many artists, you know, he's been doing this since I think the 80s, late 80s. And, you know, he's worked with Tupac, Mac Dre, Too Short, E40, I think everyone.
Couple tickets with this gift, I'ma get it. Cut it down the middle, split it. Check my pivot, smart as a lawyer. Represent the Golden State Warriors. Now I got a marker up in my face. Say wanna sign to the brand new label, but it ain't the case. OG Reds in the huddle with a boss, rub man got game. The world is ghetto, West Oakland, that's what he claims. Even though I live right across the water in the scope, got love for your man. Stick to the script with his whole life game. Represent ain't no riddle. This be chip concrete like a hand I do has missile. Follow me in an all black Hummer, switch the game in an all black runner.
To get back to it, my brother was like, listen man, I think the best idea is that we go to the States and we work on this album. So it was me, my brother, and our producer at the time, Spike. We ended up, you know, hustling enough money to get over to the States, and everything was cool like that, you know. We had a cool vision to work on an album with him. So basically, you know, we got all our information, we got all our suitcases right. But before we left, you know, my mum's, as a real mum, she was a bit concerned, you know. She was like, where you guys gonna be staying at? Could I get a number or address just so I have this in my, you know, on the side? So if anything happens, she knows, you know, where we are. So Rappin Forte, he ended up shooting all the information. So me being a bit of a curious motherfucker, I was like, okay, let me go and check out the address and see where we're actually going. So I went on Google Maps and did a bit of research, checked on Alamany, and basically, from the Google Maps, you know, you couldn't see too much of it. But one thing that did catch my eye, there was a one-way street going in and a one-way street going out. So it looked a bit iffy, but you know, as I said, I didn't see much of it. So it was like, all right, man, we just, you know, rolling up to Forte's place, it's gonna be A-okay. So anyways, we got all our bags together, took the plane straight to San Francisco. So we get to the airport, we were greeted by Rappin Forte, the one and only. His wife was there, Amina. We ended up, you know, embracing each other, saying, all right, man, you know, we live in the dream at the moment. Me as a kid, you know, growing up in Perth, Australia, you know, I was listening to Rappin Forte as a young kid, and, you know, it was always a dream for this to happen, you know, to work with these artists. And of course, this dream ended up coming true. So we ended up meeting them, as I said, at the airport. We driving, listening to some beats in the car. We ended up getting to the Alamein projects. Now everyone knows, and if you don't know, when you get to America and you start venturing off into the hood, you know you're in the hood. It's not like in Australia, America's a whole different ballpark. So we ended up getting to Alamein projects, and you could see and you could feel that we was in the hood. So anyways, we get to the apartment, to the house, everyone was there. We had all the family from the wife, we had Forte's family was there, C&T, and we were chopping up game, we were just hella happy to be there at that time. My brother, he had like a nice $400-500 bottle of cognac. We started drinking, smoking bud. Like I said, man, we were just, meeting and greeting people. We ended up, listening to a few tracks that we had worked on.
Like they say, up at the spot, fool got popped, killed him a cop, jumped in the drop. That was the life he lived, but now he's haunted. Imagine your dome posted on America's Most Wanted. They flown it with rapping for the DK. Chilling with Willie Spice, SBK.
And shit was cool. So while this is all happening, Forte was, like, okay, boys, let's talk about this album. Let's talk about how we're going to attack it. First of all, we need to come up with a name. So I think Ben and Forte were discussing the name beforehand. And Forte was like, listen guys, I think the best title that we could give this name of the album is Exported Game. Seeing as though we're coming from Perth, Australia, living in Geneva, Switzerland, we exporting game. That's what, we came up with for the title of the album. We were all happy with that, so we were like, alright man, that's one little check off the list. We got the name of the album, Exported Game. So we were cool with that, Next thing, we didn't know this was gonna go about, but Forte was like, listen, seeing as though we arrived, I think it was on the 30th or the 29th of December, we ended up having a show booked for New Year's out in Sierra Vista in Arizona. And Forte was like, listen, I want you guys to open up for me. So me and Spike, we had worked on some tracks beforehand. And we were like, for sure, man. I mean, fuck, to open up with Rappin' Forte, we ain't gonna say no for that. So we were like, alright, man, let's get ready for this trip. Because we needed to hire out a car and drive all the way down to Arizona. It's probably about, a 14, 15-hour trip. So we ended up going. There was me, my brother Spike, C&T, Woody F. Banger, Amina, and Forte. So we driving. Now while we driving in the car, we, listening to some of the tracks, listening to, what we had to work on, we were writing our lyrics. So at least with this time, we had some time to work on these projects. So that's all cool. We ended up driving, like I said, like crazy. We ended up getting to Arizona. And I said, for us, it was our first time out in America. So when we were driving through Arizona, the shit looked like some crazy cartoon, like Coyote and Roadrunner, it was just these big ass crazy mountains and, everything all red. And like I said, you would have thought Roadrunner would have been running on the streets and Coyote doing some explosive shit. So that was some trip, for us. So anyways, we get to the hotel, put our clothes there, put what we had to put there. We drove out to the venue, did a little sound check. We met with the people who organized the show. That was some cool people. So we did our little sound check, everything went smooth. We rolled back to the hotel. It was time to get ready for New Year's and bring in this show with Rappin' motherfucking Forte. So, New Year's come. We ended up hitting the stage, and the shit was big. Like I said, me and Spike, we ended up doing a few joints. Then we had one track that we already worked with Forte, so we ended up doing that track as well with Forte on the stage. And like I said, this is a dream come true. We couldn't believe what was happening at the moment. But of course, we had to keep our minds in the right frame. We didn't want to trip too much because we knew, okay, we were here for a mission and we're got to conduct ourselves like some bosses, like some real motherfuckers. So I said, we ended up doing the show. Rappin Forte, he ended up doing his show to bring in the New Year's. Like I said, the shit was big. It was like fire. We had all these people out there meeting and greeting us and, you know, getting all contacts from us. We were letting them know that we've got this new project, Exported Game, that's going to be coming out. So like I said, we ended up doing a dope ass show. And now it's time to take the road again and get back to the Bay Area and keep working on this project. So we driving back. Now while we were driving back to San Francisco, we ended up stopping in LA. We ended up going, it was nighttime, we went to the Sunset Boulevard. We started to see some of the stars on the floor. And like I said, that shit was cool as a motherfucker. Rappin Forte out there, you know, we was looking in the big lights, passing Capitol Records. And I said, you know, it was a trip because, you know, coming from Australia or Switzerland, it's nothing like America, you know. As soon as we got to LA, like I said, one thing was crazy. We got to LA and the first thing on the radio was Tupac, To Live and Die in LA. Like I said, so we just feeling the vibes, you know. We get to LA, we had some dope ass shit playing on the radio. Like I said, man, we were having a good time. We went to go and get something to eat. Ended up bouncing back to San Francisco, back to Alamany Projects. We hit the sack and it was ready to kick on the next day. So basically we wake up the next day and we went to go and meet with Uncle Simon. Now Uncle Simon, he's an old OG cat from the Bay Area. And he was a real big support, you know, and we'll let you know how it was much of part of this project, and he had his recording studio at his house, so we were able to, you know, work on some tracks while we were at his. And as I said, Uncle Simon, he old school cat, you know, and he was showing us much respect, and, you know, we appreciated, you know, having his presence around us. While we was with Uncle Simon, we also met like some other artists like Velos. Velos also was part of the Exported Game project. Velos is an R&B singer, dope as fuck. I said, man, he lays down some vocals, and we were like, man, this is just what we need to make this project that much better. So we also had some other artists that were down with Uncle Simon and his record company, BTB, Big Time Productions. So we ended up doing a few tracks while we were there that day. And then after, you know, we were just hitting the streets with Forte, cruising around San Francisco. Now one crazy thing, driving around with Rappin Forte, as I said, this guy's a legend, he's a star. You know, we driving down the streets and all of a sudden a car pulls up on the side, screeches the tires, and I was like, fuck man, some shit's gonna go down. The guy pulled down his window, he's like, yo Forte, I just want to be like you. I was like, damn man, I thought there was some drama about to kick off, but this guy here was just giving props to Forte, you know, showing love, and basically that happened on numerous occasions. You know, driving around with Forte was, like I said, driving around with a superstar. So, you know, this was like one crazy feeling, you know, I never had some shit like this happen before. So, like I said, that was some cool shit, you know, just to see the respect and the love Rappin Forte got in the Bay Area. So anyways, after that, you know, we were, like I said, cruising around San Francisco. We were chopping up game with Rappin Forte. He was talking about some stories, you know, talking about Tupac and how they worked on the track, Only God Could Judge Me. You know, talking about how he worked with Sugar Free and, you know, just his come up and, you know, new shit that he'll be working on. And like I said, you know, we were just vibing, you know, we were loving the experience while it was happening. So next thing, we were kicking back, and I think probably we stayed at Forte's place for about maybe 6 or 7 days. After that, the situation got a bit tense in the sense that I don't know if it was just because we were a bit too cooped up, you know, sleeping on the couch, and you know, I don't know if it was because of security-wise as well, but Uncle Simon said, listen, I think it's best for the boys to come and stay at my place. because he had an underground kind of basement, with a, much bigger, so we could at least, be a bit more comfortable. And like I said, I don't know if it was also just for security reasons, just to be a bit more safer. But even though Uncle Simon was straight in the hood as well, he was off 3rd Street in Jennings. So, we were out there, out there in the hood. But because we was with Uncle Simon, like I said, he was well respected, so nobody was gonna fuck with us. And we were with some real cool people and, looking after us. So like I said, we ended up taking all our bags, staying out to Uncle Simon's place. And at least like that, we were able to work on the album a bit more and start really putting in the work. Forte would come around, do his vocals, and like I said, we're keeping it moving. We had no problems and everything was smooth like this.
Captain, sipping pants, sweat no chick, even though she big. On a weak conversation, how'd you figure that you can have your cake, get it too, then share a slice with the next nigga? See, I'm the nigga. We had different relationships. Shit she did, made it hard for a boss to stick to the script. Been picture this, for letting her get away with that. As a matter of fact, somebody on the line, baby, call me back. Baby, call me back. Post up with a mug on me. Damn, shorty, how you get all that in them jeans? Then take 1 minute, just few little seconds. Y'all should've seen how quick we both got naked. Keep the engine revving.
By then, I think it was around the 10th day, we kind of had probably about 70% of the album done. And next thing, we ended up meeting with TC, the producer. Now TC, the producer, is also a legend in the Bay Area. I would say he's like the Dr. Dre of the Bay Area. He's worked with numerous rappers, RBL, Black C, many, Rappin, Forte, Trent from Naughty by Nature. So we ended up going to his spot out in Hunters Point, and he had a dope, underground studio in his garage. We also met with Mimi. She laced some dope vocals on a couple of our tracks. She was also, behind the mixing board, so we recorded a few tracks at his place. At that time, we also met with Flymar. We'll get more into this in the other episodes, but Flymar, when we met him, I think he had just finished work, and we caught up with him, and he was showing us love, and he appreciated our vibes, and was like, all right, man, you're some cool people, and Ben ended up getting his contact details. So like I said, in the following episodes, we'll get more into that. So anyways, after finishing, the recording studio and finishing at TC's, we ended up doing a dope photo shoot with Sean Duan. We went down to San Francisco, down in the downtown area. We did some nice photos. I'll chuck some of these photos on so you can see, just the vibes and the people there, and like I said, it was a big thing, we kind of, day after day, we had something planned, there was never a dull moment, there was never a time where we were just doing nothing in that sense, we always had something in the works, whether it was recording music, meeting up with some people. We also had a chance to meet with Nicolo, Eno, these are some dope ass rappers out there, Eno, R&B singer, like crazy, hitting them high vocals. So like I said, we nearly at the end of our trip, but then, I think we had one day where we had a bit of spare time, so we ended up driving to Oakland. We went out to a little swap meet to buy some fresh clothes, some nice gear, some nice shoes, some jeans and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we were just having a ball at the same time, we going to eat some nice burgers at some local stores and everything was cool, and at the end, we had a real good time. There was different approaches we could have went with this album. Forte in the beginning was like, listen, if you guys want Snoop Dogg, if you want Too Short, E40 on the track, we can make it happen. But seeing as though our budget was what we had, we were like, listen, we want to make the most of what we got. And we prefer kind of working with some local artists as we did. And that shit, worked out in our favor. Because of course we could have done one track with Snoop or one track with Too Short, but that would have kind of ended the story. because of course, you know, everything out there is all about money and hustle and time as well. Now, in between all this, you know, we also had a nice chance to go and visit a tennis club out in San Francisco, and we were met with some Asian fella. His name was Dub, and Dub basically, he had worked with Snoop Dogg. I'm not quite sure if he was the manager directly, but he was, you know, handling business for Snoop. He was telling us that they're, you know, working on some kind of video games, and he could put, you know, some of the music into the video games, and, you know, this guy was high roller, so we ended up going for a nice little tour for this, you know, tennis club. They had the pimped out showers, they had a nice VIP lounge and a nice bar, and he was telling us basically, this guy was like, listen, whenever we talk about Snoop in the public, we never call him by his first name. We always use Cody's name, because of course out in America, when you say Snoop Dogg, all ears go in, you know, and people try and take information or eardrop into what the conversation's about. So I forget the code name that was given to him, but, you know, it was just some cool game to pick up on, and just how they operate out there in the Bay Area or in America in general, you know, when they're talking about superstars like Snoop Dogg and so forth. So like I said, this was one little trip that we had, and like I said, Rappin Forte, the connections he had, big, you know, you could see Rappin Forte is somebody out there, you know, and we had the chance to meet some really important people. So yeah, so that was a cool kind of gift, you know, to go and meet up with these people. And by this time, Rappin Forte ended up getting another call, I think like a few days before we had to leave. He had a show booked out in Santa Rosa. So of course, again, Forte was like, listen guys, I've got this show booked, you guys want to open again for me? And of course, we couldn't say no again. So we were just happy to, you know, be a part of Forte's show. So we ended up rolling out there, you know, we meeting some fly girls, we meeting some cool people, some local artists out there. So again, you know, me and Spike, we rocked the stage. You know, we did our shit, the fans were going crazy, and these people were really amazed to see that, you know, these cats coming from overseas, coming to rock it with them, you know, they appreciated that. You know, so we got much respect from them. We ended up getting all their contact details, and you know what I mean, we just building our network. So I said, we rocked that show. Rappin Forte, as always, came on and killed it, you know, like Rappin Forte on his shows. Man, doing all these, you know, classic tracks, Players Club, you know, all these tracks, you know, I'll Be Around, you know, Alphabets, and man, like I said, I'll show you some of this stuff while I'm talking, so at least you get the idea and the vibes, you know, how it was going down. So like I said, we ended up doing that show, you know, everything was cool. Next thing, like I said, we had like a few more days left. I think we were there for a total of 15 to 16 days. So like I said, you know, we had, I think, maybe 1 or 2 more tracks to work on. We ended up finishing all these tracks. And basically, that's it, you know, we ended up doing everything we had to do. And like I said, we were just amazed with all the work that we got done in such a short time. You know, every day, you know. And it was hard because, you know, we were smoking big, drinking big. At the same time, we wanted to make the most of America, but at the same time, we had to handle business, because business comes number one. So like I said, you know, we ended up finishing what we had to do. We wrapped up at least, 12 tracks while we were out there. And you know, we were like, you know, okay, Forte, we're going to go back to Geneva, Switzerland, start mixing on this music, and we're going to bring it out, you know. So we got the plane, me, Spike, and Ben came back to Geneva, Switzerland, working hard on this album. Started mixing everything, mastering everything, and I'm talking hours in the studio. And at the same time, I brought my hand camera. You know, back in the day, it was the hand cameras. So we filmed the whole journey. So I was like, fuck it, man, why don't we do a DVD at the same time? Put out the CD and the DVD, so, you know, people can really see what we went through. And if you've got the album, then you know what I'm talking about. So we put everything together, we did the nice photo cover, put all the right papers down, got everything signed, contracts and whatnot, and brought out Exported Game. And like I said, the shit was big, big, big. And you know, we were more than happy, more than excited with what we had done. So basically, you know, that's it for this story, for the first episode. I'm going to keep it short on this one. Of course, we've got many stories to come after this. You know, we had stories with Rappin Forte was meant to come out to Europe, and of course things went sideways and he didn't end up coming, so we'll tell that in the next episodes to come. But anywho, I appreciate you guys listening to this, and I hope you keep on following with these episodes and these, you know, you appreciate these stories. You know, we just bring in the real shit, you know, the real life experiences, real music, and like I said, you know, we are going to try and bring out these episodes once a week or every second week. So I hope you stay in tune, and if you don't give a fuck, like I said, switch this shit off. I don't give a fuck. You know, this is for the real people who like to see some real shit. So again, you know, I appreciate everything. And you know, just to let you know that we're also working on some new music. You know, we're still active in the game. I'm working on my solo stuff. I've got my producer out here, Mars. So I'll be showing some new exclusive stuff here and there, just so you guys know that, you know, we're back active, Ovaseaz Records. And yeah, so I appreciate everything. I hope you guys like this first episode. Like I said, there's going to be many more. We've got some local artists that are going to join us. My brother Big Ben's going to be here for a few episodes. So again, I appreciate your time. I hope you like this, and we're going to keep it rolling. Big motherfucking Willie, Ovaseaz Records, Ovaseaz TV. Chill.